Carlson. As you may imagine, not a day goes by when we don't think about Christopher. We miss him every day. We are so grateful for the empathetic care that you gave him. When we were told about this campaign, we knew we wanted to do whatever we could do to raise awareness of this error, so no other family will lose a loved one like we did. I would like to take this opportunity to tell you guys about Christopher. Chris was a very active child. Some might say he was hyperactive. He came into this life ready to go. Of our 3 children, my wife Deborah had her shortest labor with Christopher. He came out so fast that the doctor almost dropped him. He was walking at 10 months, and from that point forward seemed to be in constant motion. Later, as he learned to speak, Christopher would blurt out strange sounds as if he could not stand the silence any longer. As a child, he would perform a routine we call the arm dance. He would whip his arms back and forth, in and out, and up and down, at the speed at which we could barely record on video. Christopher loved to watch cartoons about superheroes. His favorite by far was Superman. His grandmother Ada made a Halloween costume for him that he loved so much that he wore it all the time. We even caught him wearing it underneath his school uniform. All he needed was a nearby phone booth, and Super Christopher would save the school from whatever disaster was about to befall it. As Christopher grew older, he learned to enjoy sports. His favorites were baseball and basketball. He played Little League, baseball, and continued playing through high school. He played the outfield, and he could really run down those fly balls. One of Christopher's favorite hobbies was playing computer games. He became very accomplished at some of the games and was well known to many other gamers. For a period of time, he and his neighbor friend James would play in shifts around the clock. We would go upstairs looking for Christopher and find James instead in front of the computer. Christopher also loved music. He would often discuss it with his mother, his brother Shane, and his sister Brianna. He and Brianna became very close and shared their ideas about music and would attend concerts together. Chris tried to discuss music with me, but gave up when he realized that the extent of my music was country music. And that was one area he didn't get into. Christopher's music interests were varied. He liked groups such as Coldplay and Incubus, and a local group called Mars Volta. But he also liked the groups of my generation, like Led Zeppelin and Pink Floyd. He would even listen to Sinatra from time to time. He was also learning to play the drums, and he was trying to teach himself to play guitar. Christopher had a dry, wisecracking sense of humor. He would find someone's hot button and push it very effectively. He got away with it by always pushing that button with a twinkle in his eye. His humor was never cruel. His favorite comedian while growing up was Jim Carrey. He would have us in stitches when he would imitate Fireman Bill from the Living Color show. We did not encourage him, however, to imitate the antics of 2 of his favorite animated shows, Beavis and Butthead and South Park. Chris loved his family and enjoyed his time with them. He and Brianna would go to the movies with their Uncle Donald, and Chris would always remember to bring some popcorn home to Mom. Christopher enjoyed spending time with his aunts, uncles, and cousins at family picnics, and parties, and vacations. He enjoyed school and went to parochial schools in San Jose through high school. He did well in school and was accepted into San Jose State College upon graduation from high school. He loved spending time with his friends from school. Chris had an easy way about him and a disarming smile, which made it fairly easy for him to make friends. That smile would often also get him out of trouble. Deb and I really do miss that smile. Christopher loved children and enjoyed spending time with his niece and nephew, Jessica and Matthew, and younger cousins, Pierce and Peyton. Although Christopher had an irreverent sense of humor, he was always respectful of his elders, especially his grandparents. He also had a soft spot for the underdog and would come to the aid of kids that were being picked on in school. As I said earlier, Christopher completed high school and was accepted at San Jose State. He attended classes for 1.5 years, but realized that he wasn't ready to continue on with school at that point. He decided to leave school and go to work full time. He found a job at a wholesale food outlet called Restaurant Depot. He really enjoyed working there and would come home and entertain us with stories of the customers he would help. Christopher had just received news that he was accepted to start work at Pacific Gas and Electric Company and was extremely excited. It was at this time that he became ill. After seeking medical help, he was found to have non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Over the next month, an Ommira reservoir was installed to deliver chemotherapy intrathecally, and a port was installed to deliver chemotherapy into his blood system. He never complained while these procedures were being done or while receiving his chemotherapy. We were told that they could not see any more of the cancer cells in his brain spinal fluid, and that they were only going to do one more treatment there. Also, the tumor in his chest had reduced by over 50%. This was about 1 month after he was admitted into the hospital. It was while he received that last chemotherapy intrathecally that an error was made that would eventually take his life. Chris was erroneously given intrathecally a dosage of vincristine that was intended for another patient. The hospital was not able and did not have procedures in place to recover from this, and Christopher was transferred to Stanford Hospital, where Dr. Carlson and his team tried to save Christopher. But to this point, this is an untreatable error. Christopher bravely went on for 3 days as he was eventually paralyzed by the vincristine and then passed away. Had the procedure of bagging the vincristine been in place at this time, the error that killed Christopher would not have happened. Deborah and I have suffered many losses during our lives, but none as great as the loss of our son, Christopher. Losing a loved one is terrible, but losing a child is the worst thing that can happen to a parent. It tore our hearts out. We hope that this story will help in some way to prevent another family from suffering this horrible loss. We urge all medical facilities that apply vincristine to please do all you can to eliminate this error and just bag it. Thank you, Dr. Carlson and the NCCN for giving us this opportunity to participate in this Just Bag It campaign, and especially for allowing us to tell Christopher's story. Now my wife Deborah would like to share some of her memories of Chris.